Hello and Merry Christmas, everyone. Happy holidays. Happy solstice. Happy whatever you celebrate this time of year. It is Monday morning, December the 23rd, and time for the final mailbag of the decade. Huh? Wow. Strange thing to contemplate, isn't it? I mean, not really strange as far as nature is concerned, right? I know that calendar dates are just things that human beings made up, and we have attached these numbers to, the turns of the Earth and all of that. But as far as the planet's concerned, it's just another spin around the sun, no big deal. Okay. But as for our day-to-day lives, yeah, maybe it's momentous. The end of a decade, okay? So I'm hoping that maybe the 2020s will be better for most of us on this Earth than the 2010s have been. Been a bit of a rough time, but hopefully things will get better. I'm looking forward to an optimistic future. Fingers crossed. But for today, I have a really good mailbag for you. 15 packages, it looks like. That's a pretty good haul for the end of the year, so we're going to get to them here momentarily. But first, a couple of quick announcements. The most anticipated videos for next year, the science fiction releases and the fantasy releases for 2020. My anticipated videos went up last week. In case you missed them, there they are. Go check them out. 60 books total between the two videos for next year, so that should keep your TBRs busy, if nothing else does. Also, don't want you guys to forget about Worldcon. I think the way it works is before the end of the year, you want to make sure that your Worldcon supporting memberships are in so that you can participate in next year's Hugo Award nominations and final voting. I think that's how it works. That is how it worked at Dublin. If you want to participate in the awards, you've got to get those supporting memberships in by the end of the year. I know most of you will not be able to fly across the seas to New Zealand, but you can get a supporting membership and participate in the Hugos. And maybe in the Fancast category, you'll have, some nice thoughts for your favorite booktubers. Without further ado, let's get into these books, because like I said, it is a nice end of the year haul. Okay, this first one is a hand-addressed envelope from Tor. That probably means somebody stuck an ARC in here. Okay, it is an ARC, and this is for a book that didn't quite make it onto my SF list, but it came very, very close. But I'm still keen to check it out. This is a novel coming out on April the 24th from Tor.com Publishing. It's by Corey J. White, and it's called Repo Virtual. And it is described as an action-packed cyberpunk heist story about a thief who unintentionally steals the world's first sentient AI. Set in a futurist Korean city called Neo-Songdo, where citizens see everything through a corporate virtual reality that masks both graffiti and the night sky, Repo Virtual presents a vision of our world where the line between a person's real and virtual lives is nearly indistinguishable. In Neo-Songdo, capitalism has spiraled downwards to its worst possible end. The divide between rich and poor is harsh, and the criminal underworld is thriving. Julius Dax is both a real-life thief and an online repo man, barely scraping a living when his old friend Soo-hyun approaches him with a job that could change his life. Soo-hyun works for Kali, a dynamic cult leader with a vision that humans will one day transcend their bodies and embrace true artificial intelligence. Kali wants JD to break into the home of the tech mogul billionaire Zero Lee and steal back what she calls a virus. This, naturally, doesn't go as planned. Surrounded by enemies and betrayal, when JD realizes he's stolen a sentient AI, he has to decide what kind of future he wants to fight for. Okay, cool. All right then, Repo Virtual arrives April the 24th in hardcover from Tor.com Publishing. Let me know in the comments. And this next one is in from Random Penguin. Okay, this is the trade paperback edition of No Country for Old Gnomes. This is the second novel in the Tales of Pell series by Delilah S. Dawson and Kevin Hearn. This trade paperback edition will be out on January the 7th. And this is a humorous fantasy series, which people who have started them, I still haven't started them yet, have told me that they're really quite cute and funny, so maybe I should. But this is the second one in the series. War is coming, and it's going to be Pell. On one side stand the gnomes, small, cheerful, possessing tidy cardigans and no taste for cruelty. And on the other side sit the halflings, proudly astride their war alpacas, carrying bags of grenades and hungry for a fight, and pretty much anything else. So you get the idea. It's just as silly gets. And it's out on January the 7th from Del Rey. Next up, we've got what's a pretty chunky, heavy package from Random Penguin. Well, this is one that I have not been aware of until right now, so interesting. It's a book called Zed, and the author is Joanna Kavenna, says from Granta Best Young British Novelist Joanna Kavenna, author of the Orange Award for New Writing winning novel Inglorious and Orange Prize longlisted The Birth of Love, comes Zed. This is out from Doubleday on January the 14th. And it's described as a hilarious, incisive, and painfully relevant story about dystopian insanity on a grand scale, featuring a world of corporate pretenders, broken software, and algorithms that never quite work as well as they're supposed to. Meet Beetle, the insidious megatech corporation that controls the world. Okay, I think I know who they're meant to represent. I can figure that out. Okay, Beetle has their hands in everything, from the economy and politics to how we as consumers purchase, eat, sleep, and interact, studying us through the chips we've implanted, the bracelets we've opted to wear, and the proprietary, very intelligent personal assistants that guide us through our everydays. The billions of data points gathered through these technologies feed Beetle's infallible predictive algorithm, the life chain. Accordingly, the life chain always knows what we're going to do before we do it. Following our life chain will help us get that promotion or put us in the best position to fall in love. In short, the life chain should maximize our freedoms. But if the life chain says that you're about to commit a murder, you're guilty and the droids are already on their way to lock you up. Okay, so there is some, Minority Report in this. It's a flawless system, and then one day a crime occurs that the life chain never predicted, and then another, and then the whole system goes haywire. Self-anointed guru of the digital age, Guy Mathias, CEO of Beetle, has become one of the world's most powerful and influential figures. Untaxed and unbeholden, his transatlantic company essentially operates beyond the control of any governments or laws. But trouble is never far away, and for Guy, a perfect storm is brewing. His wife wants to leave him, fed up with his serial infidelities. Malfunctioning Beetle software has led to some unfortunate deaths, which are proving hard to cover up. His longed-for deal with China is proving troublingly elusive. And among other things, the mystery hacker Gogol is on his trail. With the clock ticking for Guy, his aide Douglas Varley, conflicted National Security Agent Eloise Jane, depressed journalist David Strachey, and Gogol, whomever that may be, an important question is becoming ever more pressing. How do you live in reality when nobody knows anything at all, and all knowledge, all certainty, is partly or entirely fake? Oh, wow, okay, that book was getting heavy. Change hand position, Thomas. Offering a timely conflagration of all our digital and technological phobias. In Zed, whether exploring artificial intelligence and AI police robots, or pinwheeling through quantum mechanics, Joanna Kavenna crafts a world that is both hilariously impossible and terrifyingly plausible. Okay, so it sounds like there is probably an element of satire in all of this. The whole Google and Jeff Bezos, metaphors are fairly obvious here. But it could be entertaining, And so Zed, as I said, comes out January the 14th from Doubleday. Okay, next in from also Random Penguin and a slightly more lightweight book, so that's nice, is a YA. This is called Nameless Queen. The author is Rebecca McLaughlin, and this comes out on the 7th of January. In this debut fantasy, one girl must make a name for herself or die trying. Nameless Queen follows an unknown peasant who inherits the throne when a tattoo suddenly appears on her arm. Everyone expected the king's daughter would inherit the throne. No one expected her. It shouldn't have been possible for one of the nameless to receive the crown, but there's no denying the tattoo emblazoned on her arm. She is to be queen. In a palace where the corridors are more dangerous than the streets, though, how could she possibly rule? And what will become of the nameless if she doesn't? When a scrappy and feisty heroine leading the charge against a horrifying and oppressive class system, Nameless Queen is a debut novel not to be missed. Nameless Queen, and it is available on January the 7th from Random Penguin. And this next very heavy package comes from the Hachette group. Ah, this is nice to see. This is Wintertide, and this is the second book in the trilogy by Andrew Caldecott that started with Rotherweird. You may remember seeing that a few months back in my mailbag. This is sort of a strange medieval fantasy, and the entire trilogy is out already in England, and so now we're getting it here. The second volume is coming out on, what is the day? The 7th. Okay, that's cool. Anyway, Rotherweird, where an ancient plot, centuries in the making, is about to come to fruition, and this time the forces of darkness might actually win. The town of Rotherweird has been independent from the rest of England for 400 years to protect a deadly secret. It has this kind of strange mystery in this weird medieval setting, and I've read like the first chapter or two of Rotherweird and kind of in preparation for what's my TBR going to be, and I liked what I read, so I'm going to really try to maybe get both of these reviewed in January and try to get caught up on the trilogy. But Wintertide, the second volume here in the States, will be out on the 7th. All right, now these next 5 packages are all these white envelopes from Macmillan. So let's dig in and see what Tor, I'm going to say, mostly has been sending me. Well, we're starting out with a nice surprise. This is the arc already for Harrow the Ninth. This is Tamsin Muir's sequel to Gideon the Ninth. A book that I gave a very mixed review to, but as I said in my anticipated science fiction video, and in my review of Gideon the Ninth, so go watch that if you missed it, I do think Tamsin Muir has this incredible raw talent that she just kind of needs to, get a bit disciplined about. But I've been interested in the second book, even though, like I said, I had thought the first one had a lot of flaws. They were the kinds of flaws that still made me want to continue with this. So, Harrow the Ninth, it literally says on the back of the book, the necromancers are back and they're gayer than ever. She answered the Emperor's call. She arrived with her arts, her wits, and her only friend. In victory, her world has turned to ash. Okay, then. So this is out June the 6th, I believe. I have to consult my own video for the precise date. So yeah, Harrow the Ninth, and then in 2021, the final volume of the series, the trilogy, will be out, called Alecto the Ninth. And next up from Tor is the finished copy of Splintegrate by Deborah Taramis Christian. Now, if you just watched my anticipated SF video, you'll know that I started the video with this book, even though it is a December 31st release. I think that technically still, effectively, it makes it a 2020 release. This is a standalone sequel to Mainline, which was her first novel back in the mid-90s. With this new novel, Deborah Christian catapults us into her thoroughly conceived world with translucent prose and a plot that never relents. One of the many charms of Planet Lindir is the Between World, home to the licensed entertainers of the Sodani Empire. There, at a palatial house of domination called Tryst, professional dominatrix Kess has become a celebrity attraction whose fame and exclusivity draws a rarefied clientele. This is kind of like a cyberpunk Kushiel's Dart, really. Her most devoted client is Janice, a major crime boss on Lindir and elsewhere. But when a high-powered Imperial authority decides she wants Janice out of the way, she identifies Kess as his greatest vulnerability. The seductive Domina would never betray a client's trust, but a moral threat to her between-world sisters forces her cooperation with Janice's enemy. Altered against her will, she is turned into a brutal weapon by Splintegrate cloning technology. It will take help from some unlikely avenues and an enormous triumph of will for Kess to survive the government's machinations and pursue the independence she's craved her entire life. Deborah Taramis Christian brings in her experience as an Army veteran to create fierce, clever drama that never ceases in this thrilling investigative novel. Cool. All right. So, it is out New Year's Eve from Tor Books, Splintegrate. I tell you guys, Santa is being really good to me today. This is Network Effect, the first Murderbot full-length novel, and it comes out on May the 5th. Let's see, golly gee. Network Effect is an outrageously fun romp through space from the perspective of the cynical and self-aware Murderbot. Murderbot is just what it calls itself. To everyone else, it is a sec unit, a human AI construct built to, well, kill people. Murderbot is special, though, because it hacked its own systems to disable the program that kept it bound to whoever was leasing it. Now it has free will, and it would much rather be watching soap operas than destroying things. When Murderbot's human associates, never friends, are captured, Murderbot leaps into action to save them, only to discover that the ship they're on is none other than Art, i.e. asshole research transport, who may or may not be Murderbot's best friend. To help both Art and its humans, you will remember Art from Artificial Condition, Murderbot has to deal with a whole lot of hostile targets in addition to its complicated feelings about friendship. Self-determination sucks sometimes. Because this is a true standalone novel, new readers have a chance to fall in love with Murderbot for the first time, while fans of the series will get everything they've been waiting for: sentient spaceships, remnants of alien civilizations, high-intensity space battles, a bit of heist action, delightful technobabble, and Murderbot's deeply relatable interior dialogue. Martha Wells effortlessly weaves all this into a deeper, character-driven narrative about the most human robot you'll ever meet. I hope you'll consider network effect coverage for next month. Duh. Okay. Anyway, well, here it is. Network Effect on May the 5th from Tor.com Publishing. And this next one is from Tor Teen. This is City of Stone and Silence. It's by Django Wexler, and it is a young adult. The sequel to his first book, YA book, Ship of Smoke and Steel. It's the middle book in a fantasy trilogy. I have heard, frankly, things about Ship of Smoke and Steel, really. But anyway, this one will be out on the 7th of January, and it follows the events of the Soliton. I guess that's the name of the ship, which finally arrives at its mysterious destination, the harbor, a city enshrouded in a ghostly veil of magic. No one knows how to leave the harbor, but if Hisoka can't find a way to capture Soliton and take it back to the Emperor's spy master, her sister's, Tori's, life will be forfeit. Okay, then. So, well, if you enjoyed the first one, then you will be happy to know that this will be out, as I said, on January the 7th from Tor Teen. And this next package from Tor is not exactly going to be a mystery about what's in it, since they put a nice big sticker right here on the envelope. So, anybody care to make any guesses? Guys, I'm telling you, I know you're not going to believe this. It's crazy, but what was in there but the actual finished hardcover of Riot Baby? Who could have known? This will be out on January the 21st from Tor.com in hardcover. This is by Tochi Onyebuchi, and this is his adult debut. Riot Baby is a sharply powerful story about rage, hope, and the Black American experience. The 5th season meets Attack the Block. It's inspired by the BLM movement. Let's see. Ella has a thing. She sees a classmate grow up to become a caring nurse. A neighbor's son murdered in a drive-by shooting. Things that haven't happened yet. Kev, born while Los Angeles burned around them, wants to protect his sister from a power that could destroy her. But when Kev is incarcerated, Ella must decide what it means to watch her brother suffer while holding the ability to wreck cities in her hands. Rooted in the hope that can live in anger, Riot Baby is as much an intimate family story as a global dystopian narrative. It burns fearlessly towards revolution and has quietly devastating things to say about love, fury, and the Black American experience. All right, then. And this will be out January the 21st. Pretty exciting. And next up, this comes in from Del Rey Books. This is The Vanished Birds by Simon Jimenez. This is another one on my anticipated list. It says, Simon Jimenez's inspiration for his sweeping debut novel, The Vanished Birds, grew out of his childhood frustration that he couldn't find his own experience mirrored in any of the books he was reading. To remedy, as he puts it, a dearth of gay and non-white male protagonists in science fiction, he gives us Aro, a beguiling boy with abilities unlike those of any hero in the history of science fiction. The tale that unfolds around Aro is one of family and belonging, told in stunning prose. The Vanished Birds is impossible to confine to one genre category. Jimenez's boundary-smashing focus on literary craft makes room for an extraordinary cast of characters who refuse classification. Among these is Neo Imani, a woman out of place and outside of time. Decades of travel through the stars are condensed into mere months for her, though the years continue to march steadily onward for everyone she has ever known. Her friends and lovers have aged past her. All she has left is work, until the day she meets a mysterious boy, fallen from the sky and broken by his past. The scarred child does not speak. his only form of communication the haunting music he plays on an old wooden flute. Captured by his songs and their strange immediate connection, Nia decides to take the boy in, and over years of starlit travel, those two outsiders find a home in the other. But Nia is not the only one who wants the boy. The past hungers for him, and when it catches up, it threatens to tear this makeshift family apart. As Aro and Nia defy the laws and limits of the universe as we know it, Jimenez employs his own jumps in space, time, and perspective, painting a nuanced portrait of a connection that bridges millennia. In a time of increasing discord, the bond between Nia and Aro raises poignant questions about who and how we love, the nature of beauty, and our responsibility to the world we inhabit. Okay then. The Vanished Birds is out from Del Rey Books on January the 14th. Now this next one says it is from Simon & Schuster. Now this one looks really interesting. I was actually in contact recently with the publicist for this one, so I'm happy to have it. This is a book called The Chill. The author is Scott Carson, and this comes out February the 11th. And it is kind of echo horror, I guess you would say. Let's say Scott Carson blends supernatural terror with an all-too-plausible threat to New York City's survival, creating a tale of urban echo horror set in motion a century ago in the waters of the Chilliwaukee Reservoir, called The Chill by the locals. Despite grounding itself firmly in haunting supernatural thriller territory, The Chill began with a quest by the author to connect historical infrastructure decisions made in the name of human progress with the modern-day catastrophes we face daily. Interesting. And then it gives a bunch of history about of that looks kind of neat. But skipping ahead a little bit to the actual plot of the book itself, let's see. Well, I guess I'm going to have to get it from the back here. Far upstate in New York's ancient forests, a drowned village lies beneath the dark, still waters of the Chilliwaukee Reservoir. Early in the 20th century, the town was destroyed for the greater good, bringing water to the millions living downstate. Or at least that's what the politicians insisted at the time. The local families, settled there since before America's founding, were forced from their land, but they didn't move far, and some didn't move at all. Now, a century later, the repercussions of human arrogance are finally making themselves known. An inspector assigned to oversee the dam, dangerously neglected for decades, witnesses something inexplicable. It turns out that more than the village was left behind in the waters of the Chill when it was abandoned. The townspeople didn't evacuate without a fight. They left a dark prophecy, and the time has come for it to be fulfilled. Those who remember must ask themselves who will be next, for amends must be made. And as the dark waters begin to inexorably rise, the demand for fresh sacrifice emerges from the deep. Okay, now you're talking. But this is out February the 11th from Scott Carson, The Chill. Let me know in the comments. Okay, just a few more to go here, and this one is in from Random Penguin. Oh, this is nice to see. This is the arc for the 8th Rivers of London novel by Ben Aronovich. His urban fantasies featuring P.C. Peter Grant. I really want to get caught up with these series because I liked how it started. I've read the first two. But anyway, this one will be out on February the 25th. It's called False Value, and it follows detective apprentice wizard Peter Grant as he starts a job that he thinks will be easier than his last, soon realizing there's no escape from the magic that always seems to follow him. Facing fatherhood and an uncertain future, Peter is as excited as he is panicked. Rather than letting the stress consume him, he begins work at a new London startup, the Sirius Cybernetics Company. Okay, that is a very nice Douglas Adams reference. I like it. Compared to his last job, Peter thinks it should be a dawdle, but magic is not finished with him yet. A secret is hidden in the bowels of the company, a technology stretching back to Ada Lovelace and Charles Babbage, and forwarded to the future of artificial intelligence. A secret that is just as magical as it is technological, and just as dangerous. Okay. All right, then. False Value from Ben Aronovich will be out, like I said, February the 25th from Doll Books. Well, this next one's a bit creepy. This is creepy by, it's an envelope from 47 North, and it arrived like this. It's almost completely torn open, but the book is inside, so I don't know if this was accidental or somebody trying to peek inside to see if there was something to steal. That's a risk you run, I tell you. Well, anyway, what's the book? This is something called Buzzkill. The author is David Sosnowski, and this comes out on January the 28th, and it goes like this. Pandora Lynch lives in Alaska with her single dad, an online therapist for Silicon Valley's brightest and squirreliest. Homeschooled by computer and a self-taught hacker, Pandora is about to enter high school to learn how to be normal. That's the plan, at least. NorCal runaway George Jedson is a hacker too, one who leaves the systems he attacks working better than before. After being scooped up by a social media giant, will George go legit or pull off the biggest hack ever? Not even his therapist knows for sure, but maybe the head shrinker's daughter. In David Sosnowski's Buzzkill, the two young hackers meet in cyberspace where they combine their passions to conceive a brainchild named Buzz. But can this baby AI learn to behave, or will it be like its parents and think outside the box? Okay, cute. That actually sounds like a variant of the family sitcom in some ways. But Buzzkill will be available, like I said, from 47 North on January the 28th. Let me know in the comments. Final package, and it's from Macmillan. And this is called Scornful Stars. The author is Richard Baker. And this is the third and final book in his trilogy of military science fiction that started with Restless Lightning, and then the first book was Valiant Dust. Now, they sent me Valiant Dust. I never got Restless Lightning, but anyway, here we are. This actually came out on the 3rd of December, so it's been out for a little while. And the main character, I believe, is Seek or something like that. But anyway, yeah, it's this one catapults us back into space, filled with vivid battles, politics, and cultural heritage. And the hero Sikander Singh North commands the destroyer Decisive before heading for Zerzura, which swarms of piracy and is bound to be the next playing board of the great game. All right, so if you like pew 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 stuff, maybe this is an underappreciated trilogy, because I know the first two came out in hardcover, and then they're only doing this one in trade paperbacks, so it may have underperformed by Tor's expectations. But if you like military SF, maybe check these out and give them a try. And there you have it. That's all I've got for this episode of the Mailbag, so you guys know the drill. Light up those comments. Let me know which of these looks most interesting and exciting to you, and which you would like to see me prioritize for review. I think I have a pretty good idea. Anyway, if you enjoyed watching, please leave a like, share the video with all of your friends, and above all, please subscribe. If you have not done so, that is how the channel grows. You can also support the channel at my TeePublic store and at my Patreon, where recruits into Wink's army get little perks like getting to see some of these videos early. And I've already made plans, I think, to do some reviews very, very early for books like Harrow the Ninth and Network Effect, and making those videos available like months early for Patreon people, before they actually go public, because the books don't come out till like the middle of the year. So plans like that are afoot for 2020. So if you're considering the Patreon, it's $2 a month. Check it out. It's a big help. I want to thank all those people for their additional support. I want to thank the rest of you for being the very best viewers in all of BookTube. And until I see all of you next time, Merry Christmas and have a safe holiday and happy reading.